Now, let's take a closer look at the negotiation details. First, it has been confirmed that the important automotive tariff for our industry is set at 15%. This puts us at the same conditions as Japan and the EU in the US market, but it's somewhat disadvantageous. Yu Sung-ho will clarify the details surrounding this matter.
We did our best to argue for 12.5%, but the US delegation said, "We understand, but the president insists on a full 15%. It's unfortunate."
A bit disappointing. That's how Korea assessed the 15% auto tariff. South Korea initially pushed for a 12.5% rate, citing the Korea-US FTA, but in the end, it was unable to overturn President Trump's position. Now, all cars that are manufactured in South Korea, Japan, and the EU will face a 15% tariff that will apply in the US market. Korean automakers, who had been burdened by the 25% tariff since May, can finally breathe a sigh of relief. Hyundai has announced plans to strengthen competitiveness and foster technological innovation to solidify its foundation. With the uncertainty resolved, the auto parts industry too can breathe a sigh of relief.
With the tariff likely fixed at 15%, companies can plan more clearly, and the auto parts industry is weighing whether to enter the US market or restructure global supply chains.
However, a closer look reveals that the situation varies clearly by country. Japanese and EU companies, which had been paying a 2.5% tariff, saw an increase of 12.5 percentage points. In contrast, Korean cars, which had been tariff-free, were suddenly hit with the full 15% burden. Let's take the Hyundai Tucson, the company's best-selling model in the US during the first half of this year, as an example. Its current US price is up to $1,540 cheaper than comparable models from Japan's Toyota or Germany's Volkswagen. However, if the full 15% tariff is reflected in the sale price, the price gap drops below $1,000. In fact, the difference with Toyota shrinks to just $144, about 200,000 won. Concerns over a loss of price competitiveness are becoming a reality. In this negotiation, semiconductors, granted the most favored nation status, still cannot rest easy. In particular, the actual tariff rates depend on the results of the Section 232 investigation that falls under the Trade Expansion Act. Steel, which had already been hit with a 50% item-specific tariff, wasn't even discussed at the negotiation table this time. With K-Steel Industries expected to struggle and other major countries shouldering the same tariff rate, there's a call for additional negotiations. Ultimately, our companies are left with the challenge of competing through quality. This is Yu Sung-ho reporting for MBN News.